Good day, folks. Welcome to Just Omer. My name is Omer Ahern Jr., and this is my periodic report to the people of Grafton County, New Hampshire, District 3. I am the County Commissioner representing the folks of District 3, but actually I represent all of the people in Grafton County now that I was elected Commissioner. And so I represent the towns in the southeastern and southern part of Grafton County. As far north as Campton and Warren and Dorchester and Groton, and over to Grafton and over to Canaan and down to Alexandria, Bristol, Ashland, and of course Holderness, Plymouth, and Hebron. So I'm here to give you a little bit of an update on what's going on in the Grafton County government. And I do want to let you know that I'm only one of three. There are two other commissioners that I serve with. I serve with County Commissioner Wendy Piper of Enfield, New Hampshire, and she represents the folks of District 1, which includes the towns of Hanover, Lebanon, and Enfield. And Commissioner Piper is the chairperson of the Grafton County Board of Commissioners. And then we serve also with Commissioner Linda Lauer. She's the commissioner from District 2, which includes the towns in northern Grafton County and on the western part of Grafton County, the towns north of Hanover and the other towns that I didn't describe in my District 3 and in Commissioner Piper's District 1. The county commissioners are responsible by state statute for providing a county nursing home, the County Department of Corrections, which has a House of Correction, and a pretrial confinement jail. And the House of Correction, though, is only for those people that have been judged guilty of a criminal offense that involves a sentence of no more than a year and a day in jail. So anyone who is sentenced to less than a year and a day for their sentence would be serving their time at the County House of Correction. And we are responsible for all of these things going on at the county complex up in North Haverhill, New Hampshire, off the Dartmouth College Highway. There's about 775 acres of land that the county commissioners are responsible for. The county complex, where the nursing home, the county courthouse, and the House of Correction are located, is a 25-acre piece of that land. And then we also have woodlands and the farmland, because we also have an active farm operation in Grafton County. We have a very fantastic, in my opinion, dairy operation, mostly Holstein cows, but we have a few Jersey cows in amongst our herd. We have pigs and we have chickens, and we sell our milk in bulk to through the Agrimark program, and that brings in some money, revenue for the farm. And part of I feel is an essential purpose of the farm is to provide employment, and I put that in quotes, employment, jobs, work opportunities for the inmates in the House of Correction, from the House of Correction. And so the inmates that we have there, they work milking cows, they work shoveling manure, helping to make hay to feed the cows, working in the gardens. Because of the pandemic and the COVID-19 situation, though, we have not had as many inmates in the House of Correction as we might normally have, and that has created a labor issue for the farm, such that A majority of the Board of Commissioners voted to not plant the vegetable fields this year, other than the county farm has planted potatoes, about 5 acres of potatoes, about 3 acres of winter squash and pumpkins, and then sweet corn, which will be evidently fed into the Department of Corrections to feed the inmates. So I'm part of what I'm going to talk about today is the monthly report from the county farm operation. So the county commissioners meet about once a week on Tuesday mornings at 9 o'clock at the county complex. And one of the things I want to just make sure that you folks out there are aware of is that since the pandemic started, all of the county commissioner meetings, whether they're budget hearings or our regular county commissioner meetings on Tuesdays of each week, are made available via Zoom. And those Zoom virtual meetings can also allow you folks out there to ask questions during the course of the meeting through the chat function. So I would say most of you folks out there know more about how this Zoom things work and the chat function and, you know, raising your hand and pushing all the buttons. But if you go to the county, if you go to the Grafton County, New Hampshire website, which you can access, I guess, through Google or DuckDuckGo, you can find the link to our weekly county commissioner meetings, and our agendas are usually on record ahead of time before the meetings start. So the county commissioners met on this past Tuesday, July 13th at 9 o'clock, and we met in a little bit different location. We met in the basement conference room of the administration building. And this is an area where the Register of Deeds stores some of their records. There are several hundreds of years of records that are kept by the Registry of Deeds. Deeds to people's properties from over the years, starting in the late 1700s. We have copies of deeds that are in our records there in the Registry of Deeds that go back into the 1700s. And those deeds are available, copies of those deeds are available. Some are available online, especially if you have the book and page number of the deed, and or you know, you can do some in-person research there up at the Registry of Deeds in North Haverhill. So we also got a report from Kelly Monahan, the Register of Deeds, at our meeting on July 13th. So on July 13th, we started at 9 o'clock with a non-public session, which I can't talk about, under RSA 91-A:3, Roman numeral 2, small a and small c. Again, I can't talk about that because of the provisions of RSA 91-A:3. So the first department head that we then met with at 9:30 was Grant Nelson. Now, Mr. Nelson is the county farm manager, and he provided us with a written report that he does every month. And the first item on the report is he gives a report on the status of the dairy herd and the amount of milk that our dairy cows produce. And I'll just read you this. This is interesting. I grew up on a dairy farm, so I find this information very interesting. And so he said, we are milking 75 cows. Sometimes the county operation is milking as many as 88 cows. So this report says they're now milking 75 cows for now, averaging 75 pounds of milk per cow per day. The components are averaging 3.93% butterfat and 3.13% protein. 11,350 pounds of milk are being shipped every other day through the Agrimark program. And the June pay price was $20.06 per hundredweight that Agrimark paid to the Grafton County Farm. Now, I should be able to tell you how many gallons of milk are in 100 pounds of 100 pounds of raw milk. I'm not good with numbers, so I can't give you the, but I think if you look it up, you can find what 100 pounds of milk equates to in terms of gallons of milk. And when you go to the grocery store, you can see that you're paying almost $4 to almost $5 a gallon for milk, for whole milk. And then Mr. Nelson mentioned that we have now hired a new farm worker, farm hand, Mr. Benjamin Morehouse. He's a new, well, he called him a farm assistant. I call farm hand. And he began working on July 6th. Mr. Morehouse does have some very good experience with regard to dairy cows, taking care of dairy cows, milking dairy cows. And so that brings the farm staff now up to full complement. But we still don't have as many inmates from the House of Correction as we would like, so that's creating some overtime obligations for our regular farm employees. But again, you got to remember, our farm employees are county employees, and when you work for county government or any government, it's in a farm setting. It's not like the farm settings that, you know, our grandparents and some of us, our parents, were involved in, where they might be working, 18 to 20 hours a day, 7 days a week, to take care of the cows, because cows need to be milked every day. But because they're, government employees, they can't be, the farm workers cannot be required to work 7 days a week, and as needed. And that could be, 15, 18 hours a day. So these are things that the inmates from the House of Correction are important to the operation of the farm. However, and I did bring up the farm doc program that I've been talking about off and on since the beginning of, or the middle of February or end of February of 2021. Farm doc is a project, is a plan that has been implemented by the county commissioners to have the farm feed into the Department of Corrections all of their food, whether it's beef and pork and chicken and eggs and vegetables and dairy products, with the idea that we can significantly reduce the amount of money that the taxpayers are paying to feed the inmates in the House of Correction. If you take a look at the budget for the House of Correction, you're going to see a line called Meals. This is under the Department of Corrections budget. The Meals line for the last several years has been in the vicinity of $200,000 per year, $198,000, $201,000, but it varies. This past year, it was a little bit less. It was actually spent, but it was budgeted, I think, $198,000. The purpose of Farm Doc is several-fold. Number one, to reduce the amount of money that the county taxpayers are paying to feed the inmates in the House of Correction, that we're not buying so much food from, well, we buy a lot of food from the Cisco company, but to feed the inmates off of what we can grow in the on the county farm, county complex up there in North Haverhill, but also to develop some other revenue sources at the county farm without, and this is an important element in the Farm Doc program, is whatever we do on the county farm is not to compete with any local agriculture enterprises, not to compete with any of our local farmers, but to, again, provide some other sources of income, revenue to the county, so that we're not quite as dependent on tax dollars from you folks, the taxpayers. So we're working on that. Mr. Nelson also talked about the situation with our pigs. We do have some piglets that we sell every spring. And then he talked about that most of the second crop of hay was chopped this week, the week of June 20th. And we did have a little breakdown with our equipment in mowing the hay. And I've mentioned Howard Hatch a number of times in my reports here over the years. And when our chopper broke down, Mr. Hatch was immediately available to fill in and to finish the job for us. So again, I just want to thank you, Mr. Hatch, and your family for being a backup to Grafton County. So the equipment situation at the county operations is something that you're going to see. We have repair bills, and that's in the county farm budget to cover these things. But we're very fortunate to have someone like Howard Hatch that is a good neighbor to the county. And that's the next item on the farm manager's report to us. The mechanical problems seem to be an issue recently. 2 tractors were down at the same time. The 7520 John Deere is at the local ag repair place in North Haverhill, and it's an electrical problem, and it's affecting the hydraulic system. The 6715 John Deere loader controls broke, but that's repaired and it's in operation again. The silage truck was overheating and lacking power, hauling loads of silage up the hill to feed the from the island where we grow some of the silage. So both problems will be tracked, and they will be corrected. And the cows are looking good, the crops are looking good, so things are coming along at the farm. But again, the farm is one of the essential operations that the county commissioners are responsible for under the state statute. And again, the original purpose of the county farm, when the counties were first started back in the 1870s, was to feed the inmates in the House of Correction and to feed the residents in the nursing home. So we need to get back to that with the purpose of trying to save the taxpayers' money. The next department head on the agenda was the county attorney, Marcy Hornick, but she was unable to be there at this meeting because of a death in the family, so there was no report at that time. Then we had a report. The next person on the agenda was Julie Libby, the finance director, and she presented us with a number of reports, appropriation transfers, requests regarding the payroll coordinator position, requests for encumbrances, micro enterprise CDBG drawdowns, micro enterprise CDBG contract for 2021, and the S&P credit rating review. So one of the things that the commissioner spent a lot of time on with the finance director was the request for encumbrances and carry forwards, and new requests for encumbrances and carry forwards. And this is a request from the department heads and elected officials to take money from their just completed fiscal year budget, money that had not been spent in their budgets. Again, this is your taxpayer dollars that they hadn't spent. And the purpose of the request for encumbrances is to let the commissioners know what bills that have been encumbered, what bills that they still need to pay from requests from the just completed fiscal year using the money that they have left in their budgets. So one of the things that we've got to make sure as commissioners is that they're not using money to buy something new that should have been put into the this year's, the fiscal year 2022 budget. So this is something that Commissioner Piper was very much concerned with, and as a result, we went through every one of the items being requested to be encumbered, and they're on these two sheets of paper here, and you can see my scribbling on these. And a number of the requests, 16 of the requests to encumber money, had been denied by the commissioners because they were not, in our opinion, items that represented obligations that had been created in the just completed fiscal year, and they were items to buy new things that were not allowed to be purchased, in our opinion. So the requests for encumbrances totaled $309,633, and we didn't allow all of those. So we're trying to be good stewards of your money. The other things that we worked with the county finance director, Julie Libby, and she's just taken on the duties of specifically being the finance director. Mrs. Libby was, for a long number of years, the county administrator and acting as the county finance director at the same time. That changed last year when the previous Board of Commissioners approved the finance director position to be a separate position, separate from the business administrator. And so in February of this year, part of last year's fiscal year budget, we hired a new administrator. Again, I've talked about Andrew Dorsett. And so Andrew is the new administrator for the county complex and the county operations, and Julie is just doing the financial director position. So there were a couple of things that she presented to the board, and again, we did not approve all of the requests for encumbrances, and that will be in the minutes that you're going to be seeing in a couple of weeks. The micro enterprise CDBG drawdowns, we did approve those. There was a request regarding a CDFA REN sub-recipient agreement, and because of the changes that were there, and the commissioners did not have enough time to review that ahead of time, no vote was taken at that time on the CDFA REN sub-recipient agreement. The next item was Tracy Sekula from the Lakes Region Planning Commission, and she gave us a report on what is going on and the things that the county is able to be a pass-through entity for federal funds coming for some of the smaller entities here in Grafton County, and she was giving us an update on that. Then we had the next item on the agenda was Jeff Stiegler, the High Sheriff for Grafton County, and he was asking to approve the purchase of 2 new sheriff's vehicles, which are in his budget for the fiscal year 2022, and as of July 1st, we're in that year. And also the need to have some equipment to outfit those sheriff's cruisers, and we did approve those requests. The next item on the agenda was Kelly Monahan, the Registrar of Deeds, and she always gives us a very complete report on the situation in the county Registry of Deeds, how much revenue comes in every month, and the Registry of Deeds is the only department, the only part of Grafton County government that makes money. They bring in a lot of income because of the percentage of the transfer tax that the county receives. The state of New Hampshire receives the rest of it, and there's other certain parts, recording fees, that the county receives. So she gave us a report on that, and again, that report is also attached to the minutes that ultimately go online, that you can look at those online. The other thing, and I'd like to just read this to you, another big item that Register of Deeds Monahan wanted the commissioners to know is the Registry of Deeds internal computer files were successfully transferred from the previous server to the new on-site servers on July 1st, 2021. You know, in this day and age of electronic filing, and deeds can be filed electronically, and you can do your title search now online. I think there's a fee that you have to pay to Fiddler or some other group that the Registry of Deeds in Grafton County has contracted with. But all of this information, one way or another, can at least information from the 1960s forward, can all be accessed online. The digital record database of all documents that reference interest and ownership in the properties of Grafton County from 1774 to the present will be 1774. That's how far back our documents in the Registry of Deeds go back to. So from 1774 to present will be transferred to the Bastion services on July 22nd, 2021. She did say that Cowas County did not experience any difficulties when they transferred their records in that system. So Grafton County is the second New Hampshire county to move to this state-of-the-art facility provided by our software partner Fiddler Technologies of Davenport, Iowa. This contract provides the Grafton County Registry of Deeds with cybersecurity and ransomware insurance coverage up to $5 million. And so this report was respectfully submitted by Kelly Monahan, Register of Deeds, and we appreciate her good work. We did spend some time talking also about another item, is the situation with regard to the American Relief Program, the American Rescue Plan, also known as the American Rescue Plan. The federal government is sending about $17,464,000 to Grafton County to be used for infrastructure, and specifically water and sewer and broadband. And one of the other things that you folks need to know is that all of the towns in Grafton County, each town in Grafton County is also getting a certain amount of money through the state of New Hampshire from the federal government, also known as these ARPA funds, ARPA. Again, the American Rescue Plan funding from the federal government. So there is a webinar coming up in a couple of weeks where there is going to be some more guidance on how this money, the ARPA funds, are to be spent. If the county does not spend this money correctly, then the federal government will not allow the funds to be spent. So we are still trying to figure out and the towns are trying to figure out, and we're working with the New Hampshire Association of Counties to make sure that we're spending the ARPA money properly. Okay, I don't know where the time goes. I still got about, another hour and a half to share with you things, but I'm out of time. I want to thank the folks at PBTV for putting together my Just Omer programs. I'm Omer Ahern Jr. If you need to get a hold of me, you can call me at my phone number, 764-6024, or go and email me at omer.ahern.jr@gmail.com. Again, I want to thank my co-commissioners, Commissioner Piper and Commissioner Lauer. Again, I want to thank you folks for listening in, and God bless America. God bless the Granite State of New Hampshire, and let freedom ring. Thank you, and take care.